So, solving linear equations, okay, is 1.3. So they're going to focus on 4 properties today: the addition property of equality, subtraction property of equality, multiplication property of equality, and the division property of equality. Addition property of equality says if you add the same number to each side, okay, that's like the rule. So if A equals B, then when I add the same number, like A plus C, it's still going to equal B plus C. So if I have 4 on both sides and I add 3 to both, they're still going to come out with the same answer. That's what addition property of equality means. You're making it equal. Subtraction property of equality is the same thing as addition, except for with subtraction. If you subtract the same number from each side, okay, if A equals B, then A minus C equals B minus C. We want to keep everything equal. Multiplication property of equality says if I multiply each side by the same non-zero number, that's the key there. It can't be a zero, a non-zero number. So if A equals B and C does not equal 0, then A times C equals B times C. And then the division property of equality says if you divide each side by the same non-zero number, okay, if A equals B and C does not equal 0, then A divided by C is going to equal B divided by C, which allows us to have some rules for solving equations, okay? So we're going to start by solving these. And we are going to deal with some fractions, which I know people hate, but they're really not that bad, I promise. How would I solve 4/5 x plus 8 equals 20? How do you start that equation? What do you do? Okay, you subtract. Use the subtraction property of equality is what we're doing. Okay? Subtracting 8 from both sides. So then I get 4/5 x equals, what's 20 minus 8? 12. Okay? Now, how do you get rid of a fraction from one side? How do I get rid of that? Yes, I would flip and multiply, turn it into an improper in this case. So this side, I'm going to multiply by 5/4, and whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I'm going to multiply this 12 by 5/4 as well. That way these 5's cancel, the 4's cancel, leaving me with just x equals. Over here, this is how I remember it. When you're multiplying it, multiply 12 times the top. What's 12 times 5? 60. And what's 60 divided by 4? 15. 1/4 of 60 is 15. And that is how I get my answer for my solution. And I use the subtraction property of equality, and I use the multiplication property of equality to solve that. Okay? You see how that works there? So these properties we use without even recognizing. We just need to know what the term is so that we can kind of see that. Okay. There is a word problem we're going to talk about. We're going to break it down. It says during one shift, a waiter earns wages of $30. Okay? So the waiter earns $30. And gets an additional 15% in tips on customers' food bills, plus 15%. Okay. The waiter earns $105. What is the total of the customer's food bills? So total earnings earned is $105. How do I set up an equation with that information? Okay, you can. Okay, so something like that. I have to have a variable in there too, but yes. So $105, right, equals the $30 we know we make, okay, plus the 15%. But do we know what the 15% is of? No. So that's where our variable is going to come in, okay? And I'm going to turn it into a decimal because it's just easier. So 15%, I'm going to say 0.15 times x, right? Because we don't know how much percent, what we were taking 15% of. So we can solve from here. Now we can solve this equation, okay? So how do I solve from here? What am I going to do to solve from here? I want to get x by itself. No, I'm not going to subtract 0.15 because 1.5 is being multiplied by x. So let's start with subtracting the $30 from both sides. Okay? If I subtract the $30 from both sides, I get $75. Now, I'm not subtracting 0.15. What am I doing with 0.15? If it's being multiplied by x, what do I have to do? I have to divide by it, yes. So I'm going to divide by it. So I'm going to get x equals whatever 75 divided by 0.15 is, and that is $500. So what they're telling me is all the people I served that night, they spent a total of $500 on their meals. And I got 15% of that $500 as a tip. It's not bad, right? Not bad. Okay. How do I solve this? This lesson's really not that hard. It's just lots of examples. 7p plus 13 equals 9p minus 5. How do I solve that?
First do 7, take out 7.
Okay, so let's subtract 7p from both sides so that I get p's all on one side. So I have 13 equals, what's 9 minus 7? 2p minus 5. Now what do I do? I add 5. I want to get p by itself. I want to get the consonants. Is that what I want to say? Constant. I want to get the constant term on both sides. 13 plus 5 is 18 equals 2p. Now what? Divide by 2 and p equals 9. Look, we just did almost everything over there. We did subtraction property of equality, addition property of equality, division property of equality. Okay? You do these things already. You know how to do them. Okay. Let's do one more, and then we're going to check our solution to make sure it's right. Because on some of your homework, you're going to check your solutions tonight. So let's solve and check. We like to check, especially when we can make mistakes. 3 times 5x minus 8 equals negative 2. Negative x plus 7 minus 12x. Okay. This is a long problem. What are we going to do to start? What do you think we should do to start? Distribute. Good. Okay, let's distribute. 3 times 5 is what? 15x. And 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. Good. Okay, we distributed on that side. Let's do it on the other side now. What's negative 2 times negative x? 2x. Yes, positive. Good. And what is negative 2 times 7? Negative 14. And then I have negative 12x here. What do I do next?
You put your x's together.
Okay, put our x's together. Let's just focus on this side first, and then we'll get all the x's together. So 15x minus 24 equals what? What's 2x and negative 12x? What is 2x plus negative 12x? Not 14. I have a positive 2 and a negative 12. Oh, negative 10, good. So I have negative 10x minus 14. Now, Kaylee, let's get all of our x's on one side. So we're going to add 10x to both sides. What's 15x plus 10x? So I have 25x minus 24 equals negative 14. Now what? Yep, add 24, and I get 25x equals what? What's negative 14 plus 24? 10. Okay, now what do I do? It will be a fraction. We're going to leave it in fraction form for a reason. So I'm going to divide by 25, and I get x equals 10/25. Can I reduce that fraction? Can something go into both? What? So let's reduce it down. If 5 goes into 10, how many times? 2, and 5 goes into 25, how many times? Okay, there's my fraction. Now, that we solved for, we have to check. How do we check? Plug it back in. So we're going to come back up here. Grab this. We're going to come back up here and we're going to say 3 times 5. Well, we're going to make it brackets because there's going to be lots going on. 3 times 5 times 2/5 minus 8, okay, equals negative 2 times negative 2/5 plus 7, right? Oops, I probably should have done it the same way. Plus 7 minus 12 times 2/5. Oh my goodness, that's a lot, yes? Okay, so let's do this. Order of operations tells me I need to start with parentheses, right? So I'm going to drop this 3 down, and I'm going to say, what is 5 times 2? 10 divided by 5 is? 2. So I get 2 minus 8 on the inside. Do you see how I did that? Okay. Over here, I'm going to have negative 2. What is negative 2/5 plus 7? We could change 7 into a fraction.
Oh.
If we wanted to, with a 5 on the bottom, right? If we did that, it would say 5 on the bottom, and what you do is you take 7 times 5. What's 7 times 5? And that's how you get the top. So what is negative 2/5 plus 35/5? Or what is negative 2 plus 35? Positive 33/5, right? So I'm going to get this. That way it makes my life a little bit easier. And then I have negative 12 times 2. What's negative 12 times 2? Negative, what did you say, Jason? Negative 24/5, okay? Because that can't be reduced yet. So we're going to leave it like that. Okay? You can use your calculators. You can use decimals. This is just how I think. So 2 minus 8 is what? Negative 6. So I have 3 times negative 6 now. What is negative 2 times 33? So I have negative 66/5 minus 24/5. Okay? What's 3 times negative 6? Negative 18. Good. What is negative 66 and negative 24 together? So what is negative 66 and negative 24 together? Just focus on the top. No. Do a negative and a negative still makes a negative, right? In subtraction, right? Because it's not a double negative. It's negative 66 minus 24. So I'm going to have a negative. So what is 66 plus 24? 90. That's how I get the top. 90 divided by 5. Okay. Can negative 90 divided by 5 come out evenly? What does it come out to? No, you're just guessing. To 18. So this is a negative. Do those match?
Yes.
That's how you check it. Hey, Matt. Well, she's the one that just told me to turn on. I can't get this video to stop because I can't get to log into my computer. It does this. Some days it just like won't let me log in for like.
Recording.
Yes. I need to stop it. I'll have to figure out how to edit this. Okay, that is literally the whole lesson for 1.3. Okay. You got this.
So how would you get how would you turn it into a fraction?
You mean decimal form?
How did you get it to?
How did I get it to fraction form?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I did is I chose to change this number here into
No,
fraction.
I'm saying about how did you get 10?
Here?
Yeah.
Because 10 divided by 25 leaves it
Oh.
like that in fraction form. Does that make sense?
So if it was like a different two numbers.
Like if this number 25 is on top, I would just reduce it to 5 seconds, right? Like or I would put it in a decimal form. But because there's a smaller number on top, it's going to come out as a fraction. I really don't know why my computer won't let me. I hate that. It did that to me the other day too. And I'm recording, so I'll have to figure out how to edit the last part on this. Okay, page 21. Okay. And we are going to do. So we're going to do homework from this today, and we're going to do homework from this, well, maybe tomorrow. I'll have to see. Depends how it goes. If you guys are struggling, we'll do more on this tomorrow. If not, then we'll call it quits and move on. Okay? Let's see your variable on one side. Let's just do, those are pretty simple. Let's do 3 through 13 odd. And then let's do, sorry. 21 through 27 on. Let's see, over here, to the distributive property, and checking your solution. Because this distributive property uses check your solution, I'm just making this up. So 33 and 39. And then we're going to go, we're going to throw in a word problem. 71. And if I can get into my computer, I will put it on PowerSchool.